Welcome to the Soccer Huddle. This is your boy Mojere. Why it's just an honor guy discussing the beautiful game, discussing Kwi Le Ya Mouth. Wow. Wow. Ergides. Wow. The EPL has delivered what it has promised all along. And I've said this, or there's people who actually think, or the Premier League, why has this big fan bases because of the marketing? And I'm like, yeah, the marketing is there. We'll give it to them. But the product that we see, it is what we've been sold. It's not like what you've ordered versus what you get. What we've ordered is exactly what we get. And this past weekend, we saw matches that are lived up to expectations. We saw great games. We saw good games. We saw screamers. We saw wonder goals. We saw last minute winners. We saw last minute controversies, and it was just all there, part of the package, part of what the EPL has promised and has delivered. How did your team do this weekend? I think that's the biggest question that I need to start and ask. How did your team do? Obviously, my team lies in Manchester United. Yeah, the less said about it, the better. But let's just dive straight into it and look at the past results. And if you looked at my video on Friday, I think I predicted most of them, not all of them, but most of them. I said Brentford are gonna win at Luton, and that's what they did. A 3-1 victory to the home side, beating the relegation threatened side a 3-1. And as I said, it was meant to be. We saw it. The relegated teams so far this season have not really lived up to expectation. Have not really lived up to the level that the EPL is at the moment. I said the 16 teams, or not 16 is 18 minus 3. The 15 teams in the EPL have got this high level that they've set themselves, and now the promoted teams are still on that level, and which that there's a huge gap in between the two. The only time they would get points is when they play against each other, and this is what happened for our second game of the match. Burnley beating Sheffield United 5-0. Vincent Kompany's side winning 5-0, and we saw as well. And I said this on my preview. If Kompany doesn't win this game, he's gonna be in so much pressure. As it is, he is under pressure, but he was gonna be so into so much pressure because this is at the side that they hoping he could beat. This are his fellow promoted teams. The management, they know he should beat. He should beat these teams, and his team did not only beat them, but they trashed them. And we saw Hackenbottom. I think that's how you pronounce it. If I'm not, please link correcting in the comments. Hackenbottom or Hackenbottom got the sack. He's the first EPL manager to get a sack. And surprisingly, we're in December and we just now have our first sacking of the EPL. I think it just shows how I think maybe teams have been patient with their manager so far in this league, or they know the three bottom side, Hore, to get a point on the other 15 is going to be difficult. So they've been pulling up. They've been there actually. They've been getting those results. They've been getting those shocking results. And I think the Sheffield United board, so fit or not, I think we are losing grip onto safety. We're losing grip onto playing next season in the APL as well. So a big win for Vincent Kompany's team, beating their fellow promoted team 5-0. Arsenal versus Wolves. I was actually watching this game, and I must say, it lived up to expectation. And I've said in the build-up, or I've said in the preview, that this is going to be a difficult game for Arsenal because we know Michael O'Neill's team, Wolves, they've been having bad spells of VAR reviews, and I think they would have more points than what they currently have. And going to the Emirates, they're gonna give Arsenal a run for their money. And I think this is the biggest problem. I don't know if it's Arsenal only, but I saw it with three teams this weekend. And I'm not disputing the fact that the EPL, you're not sure what you get from the teams, like the level of all the teams in the EPL are so high that there's no easy game. But the top three, I think they are the top three. I saw this happening. I think they score early and they think they're comfortable. They think they're dry and home. And the opponent, for some reason, get something back to make the last 15, 20 minutes of the game very interesting. We saw it with Arsenal. They got 2 quick fire goals for me in the first half. They were leading 2-0. They were comfortable. They were creating more chances. But I thought in the second half, they and breaking and then they were just cruising. And Wolves created chances and they took one of those chances and they made it a very uncomfortable ending to the match for Mikel Arteta's team. Martinelli, that boy, can you call Watermark? If there's one player in that Arsenal team that I really love, there's 2 of them actually. It's Martinelli and Odegaard. I think those 2, and we saw this weekend Odegaard scoring, Martinelli assisting, and for me, let me ask you something, Arsenal supporters there. I want to know from you. You might be a neutral as well. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't agree with me. How has Gabriel Jesus' performances been? For me, it has been low. For me, I know he's been scoring goals, but performance high this season is questionable for me. I think he's like, I was speaking to Bazero yesterday as well, Luis Diaz. I think they're having the same spell for me for both Arsenal and Liverpool. They haven't not upgraded. They haven't upped their game. I think we're still seeing the same players that we saw last year. I think with Jesus, not even last year, because last year he was injured most of the time. But for me, he's not there yet. He's not there yet. He's not someone that Arsenal for me can really now say we've got a striker there. They can really depend on him to get them goals. And same with Luis Diaz. He can take on players, but he hasn't moved the level up. I think with Diaz, we can always say because he's been having family issues, maybe that has played in his mind over this past few weeks. Yeah, but he's just stagnant. He hasn't moved up. He hasn't moved down a level. They're both for me stagnant, and I might be wrong. Let me know what you think as well. The huddlers there. What do you think of there's a lot of players that we can speak about, but let's save that for the next international break, which is coming next year, March. And we can look at as well who we think are the signings of the season, who we think so far is the best player of the season, who we think so far has been the best manager or the young player of the year. I think that's another topic we should have a show or a video dedicated just to find out who are your top for that. Let's move over to Northern Finals visit Everton. I've said this before. Everton were so unlucky last week against my team. I know I'm a Man United fan, but the amount of chances that Everton created, if only they were lethal, if only they were clinical, they could have beaten us 3-2 or 4-3 in that case. Because we scored, we took our chances, but we never dominated the game. I felt Everton were just creating so many chances, especially in the first half, and they didn't take them. And now they went to the community stadium for Northern Forest, and they got that crucial goal courtesy of O'Neill, of McNeil, and they never looked back. I had a stats. Let me check if they were right. I think the home team, as much as they dominated proceedings, they dominated the ball. They never had a shot on target. They never had a shot on target for the first half. Check this. They've only had 13 shots, 2 on target. 2 on target. That's the home team. 13 shots and 2 on target. That's how poor they were in the final third. And Everton only had 2 shots on target, and one of them was a goal. And they made use of it. In this game, unlike the game at Man United, they took their chances. They took that chance, that important chance, and they scored. And they never looked back. And I said, Everton for me are going to get out of that relegation zone. Because remember, they are there not because of their own doings, but because of their board and the interference. And obviously, we spoke about this in one of our videos of the FA punishing them for fair play. So if you look at the table, they are sitting in 18th position. Fifth. It came to ship. So they're sitting on 7 points and 18 positions. They 2 points behind Luton Town, who you could let's look at the league table. Look at the bottom half. You've got Fulham with 15 points. You've got Northern Forest with 13 points. Bournemouth with 13 points. Luton with 9 points. Everton 7. Burnley 7. Sheffield 7. So the difference between 16th and 17th is 4 points. Imagine if Everton had 10 points that they took from them, they would have 17 points, which would take them into 12th position. They would be in 12th position now, Everton, if Nabasabatella those dog points. I think Sean Dykes is doing something something good. They go Goodison Park. They're getting points, they're scraping points, but they're getting points nevertheless. And we've seen in the past few seasons they've been fighting relegations. And I think Sean Dykes has done a really good job. And I think he was being criticized when he came in, or the style of play, it's boring, but it's getting results. And I think at the end of the day, that's what most people want, is to get those results. And we go to my team, Manchester United. Manchester United were playing against Newcastle United at St. James's Park. I never saw a win there. I never thought that Man United would win. Not in a million ways. I've never thought that we would win. And we saw what happened. And we were so lucky to win 1-0. I think if someone was not watching the game, I wanted the scoreline 1-0, they would actually think, oh, it was an open game. It was a close game. It was far from that. I think Man United, these days, they are so lucky that the opponents cannot beat them. The opponents cannot take chances when they come against them. And we saw it go Goodison Park last week. And we saw it again, go St. James's Park. For me, Newcastle were not rightful, but wasteful with their chances. They could have scored 4 or 5 goals if Nabanya Katamans. I think Man United were lucky to get with a 1-0 score. And we saw in the dying minutes, they scored a goal which was ruled offside there. Regular Lebeta Maguire. And is it regular or what? Regular. But I'm like, I want you to know what you think as well. It's a very interactive show. I want you guys to be as well, interactive as well. I want to know what your opinions on this. Do you guys think Ten Hag will last the whole season? I know what my answer is. And now, okay, fine. I'll give you 2 answers. I'll give you a business answer. I'll give you a personal answer. Business-wise, Manchester United cannot afford to sack Erik ten Hag. Man United is in so much debt that we cannot afford to fire another coach and pay him off and get another coach in. And there's rumors of stories saying Sir Jim wants Carlo Ancelotti to go Man United. He wants that figure to go Man United. For me, I've always backed Ten Hag. He's the right man to lead the team. And there's just so many factors. Boxer in and say he's a bad manager, but he's inherited players from 3-4 managers ago, and they're still here. Last week at Goodison Park, we played a team, and not even one of his signings were there, or one. I think it was only one. But the problem I have with him, he's fighting with these big players. He's fighting with the best players that we have. He fought with Ronaldo, and then he just let go of David De Gea. All right, Sancho. Yeah, Sancho. Okay, fine. I stand with Sancho. But now one of a 4 or 5-time Champions League winner, World Cup winner, Rafael Varane, who has never had a history before of fighting with managers, who has never had a history before of misbehaving or any sort. He's been a professional, but he's fighting with Erik ten Hag. Like, it puts into question Ten Hag's player management skills. I think he's lacking in that way. I think he can play the football that he wants, but he lacks in terms of player management. You cannot fight with everyone. You'll end up not having players. And then what's surprising is there's players in that team who do not perform, but they are always in the starting lineup. Every single week, they give us four calls. I can name them, but you already know who I'm going to speak about. But they give us nothing. Scott McTominay is a passenger in our team. The only thing he gives us is goals. And not everyday goals. No. That's Leo. He was a hero when we played Brentford. He scored 2 crucial goals, last minute goals. He scored a goal at is it Burnley or Sheffield United? Sheffield United. Then from there on, he was he never was involved in the game whatsoever. He doesn't mark. He doesn't pass. He's not creative. I think on Saturday or Wednesday, the keeper had more passes than Scott McTominay. And I've said this before. Look at that game at Sheffield. I said he had only 2 passes. 2. Anyways. Rashford, we saw what he did. But he's a superstar. He earns 350k a week. What can we say? We leave them. We move over to Sunday. Sunday, that's where things were happening. Sunday, Super Sunday. They should have called it Super Sunday. Sunday, that's where everything was happening. Chelsea versus Brighton, Liverpool, Fulham, West Ham, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Aston Villa, and Manchester City versus Tottenham. Pick your pick. Which one do you want to start with? Chelsea versus Brighton. Brighton, yeah. I think Deserbi must do something, man. I saw last weekend when he won that game, he was celebrating as if like his life depended on that win. And we saw as well with Chelsea that his team were not up to scratch. It is not the Brighton that we know. They were not creating enough chances, and they let Chelsea through, and they let Chelsea lead 2-0 and 3. They scored obviously that penalty, and they let Chelsea beat them. If you check Chelsea, then you let the Chelsea team beat him. I know they're playing against my team on Tuesday or Wednesday during the week, but if you let Chelsea beat you, then you let Chelsea beat you. Chelsea is inconsistent this week, this year, or even last year. But I've said this once, and I'm gonna say it again. The quality of players that Chelsea have, once Pochettino gets them to play the way he wants them to play them, we're gonna be in trouble. And I remember I was having the soccer huddle with the boys, round table, and I put Chelsea in my top 4 for this season. I put Chelsea there. I don't know what had gotten into me, but I put Chelsea there. But anyways, we'll see. They beat the Brighton 3-2. Obviously, a reckless red card by Conor Gallagher. And for me, he's been one of the best midfielders at Chelsea. He's been one of the best players this season. And I think under Poch, he's just transformed him into this player that you can depend on. But on Sunday, I don't know what happened. He wasn't there. He wasn't there. Liverpool versus Fulham. And then this is the other team that I was telling you about, guys. They scored 2 quick goals and they thought they were home and dry. And it wasn't meant to be. Fulham came back. They leveled the game. They even led them. And ice. But honestly speaking, Liverpool scored some scotches, eh? Yo! Liverpool goals from Trent. The free kick, obviously, by Bargi on goal. But I could have given it to him, man. Trent, McAllister, Betile Sosa, yes. And then Endo as well. And yeah. I was speaking to Bazure, a Liverpool fan, by the way, and he said that game, I think Klopp has to look at it as a negative because Liverpool never looked comfortable. Liverpool never looked like a team that wanted to win. But he said his biggest worry is because we won, they will never look at those negatives. They will never look at how they played on Sunday. And they didn't play well. Hence, Brighton, like the third goal? Where everyone was running casual, like Wood, the Van Dijk, they were just joking, and Batonaba attack, but they were just joking. They were just casual in the marking, and they got punished for that. And Klopp needs to rectify that. He needs to do something because if this is a team that needs to compete for the league, you cannot afford such mistakes. If there was Arsenal or there was Manchester City, they could have punished them. They could have won that game and closed shop. they failed to top shop. So Klopp has a lot to do, has a lot to look into the team or what happened, what went wrong. Mo Salah was not involved in the game. As long I think he had 2 assists, but if you look at his game overall, he wasn't the Mo Salah that we know of. Let's move over to the last team. The others will just give you results. Manchester City versus Tottenham Hotspur. Last game of match day 14. And yeah, hey, fireworks, hey. I think Spurs came out guns blazing with that first goal song, and obviously an own goal as well. Manchester City came back by on goal, and they scored Foden, and they scored their third goal. Who scored their third goal? Who scored Manchester City's third goal? We'll just quickly see, guys. Bear with me. Oh, Grealish from that. Grealish from an assist from Haaland, and they thought they had won the game. But Spurs had nothing. Another thing coming. They scored that equalizer to make it 2-2 via Lo Celso, and Kulusevski popping up with the header to score the leveler. And a controversy as well happened where Haaland was fouled, and then he laid the ball over, I think it was Rodri or Bernardo or Kovacic, and then he passed it to Grealish one-on-one with the keeper. The referee play on, then after that he reffed the foul. I was like, what? What's happening? We'll never hear the end of it. But I think, I'm not sure what the referee was thinking, because he said play on, then after that he whistled for a foul. He brought the ball back for a foul. I don't understand what happened there. So this is my reaction for the game. I think Manchester City still look, they don't look themselves. They still look shaky as well. I think this is the best time to play Manchester City, in my honest opinion. You can actually beat Manchester City, and we've seen moves by Gile. And I think this, like, they don't look convincing. They don't look like a treble-winning team. And that is just me. And I think maybe we might be falling into the same trap that we fall on every single season, because we know Manchester City, they never start strong. They always end strong. But if you can get a team, Elohoring will be consistent and get Manchester City, get the points now. And hey, Manchester City, when they start moving into gear 6, when they move into gear 6, I think they would struggle. But what we've seen so far, what I've noticed so far, this is just me, and let me know as well what you think in the comments. This is just me. What I've noticed so far, Manchester City have not been so consistent, have not been so convincing. We saw like on the Champions League game against Leipzig. Leipzig scored 2 quick fire goals, but they couldn't defend. So I think Manchester City's defense looks shaky with Rodri, and now Rodri suspended for the next 2 games. Let's see what was going to happen, because remember in the last 3 games when he was not there, they got beaten. Let's see what happens now without Rodri as well. I think Kevin De Bruyne is a big miss for them. Gundogan obviously left, is a big miss for them. Mahrez as well, even though he was always on the bench, but he's a big miss for them. He made things happen good at Manchester City side, even though people might not want to accept it, but he was better than Grealish. Hence why Grealish is on the bench now, Doku playing. I remember telling you guys, or Doku is here to replace Grealish, and most of you fought with me. But we see week in, week out, Doku is the first team player. We saw the midweek game clash, Leipzig. Grealish started the match. He didn't impact the game. Doku came in, and Manchester City won the game. Remember, midweek, we've got midweek action as well. Let me just give you the other results. West Ham drew 1-1 with Crystal Palace. Bournemouth, Solanke and Semedo? Solanke and Semenyo. Semenyo scored on for Bournemouth, and Leon Bailey and Watkins for Aston Villa, 2-2 draw. The fixtures for this week: on Tuesday we've got Wolves versus Burnley, Luton versus Arsenal, Sheffield on Wednesday, Sheffield versus Liverpool, Fulham, Northern Forest, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton, Manchester United, Chelsea, the big game, Aston Villa, Manchester City, Newcastle, Everton, and Tottenham versus West Ham. Let me know what your team. Let me know what your team did this weekend. Were you happy with your team's results? Were you happy with your team's performance as well? And those questions. Remember, I've asked you as a neutral and as a Liverpool and an Arsenal fan. What do you think of Gabriel Jesus' season so far and performance? What do you think of Luis Diaz's performance this season? And let me know what you think as well. Remember, like fella. Remember to subscribe, share the videos with your friends as well. And until we meet again, prevention is better than cure. Don't risk it unless it's worth it.